Dragon, rock the dragon, Dragon Ball Z. Okay, people, so the long-awaited Dragon Ball Z, Frieza's Resurrection, Revival of F, Resurrection F, Revival F, whatever the hell you want to call it. I've seen it a little bit before everyone else is going to be able to see it in August. So with this review, I'm going to try and be as spoiler-free as possible. There are certain aspects of the story that I do want to touch upon that might be a little bit spoilerific, but I mean, coming into this, I mean, I gotta speak my piece on this movie. It's Dragon Ball freaking Z, Revival of F. Now, I read a little bit of the manga stuff, you know, the 3-chapter that came out that was kind of giving a tease as to what this movie was gonna do and whatnot. And I would definitely say some of the stuff that the actual anime did, building up a little bit, was a little bit more nicely done than the manga. I felt like it added a little bit more bridging the gap with stuff. I think one of the biggest things that this movie accomplished easily was character development for Goku. Yes. 291 plus episodes later, and not to mention 150 something Dragon Ball episodes, I still feel as though this movie added character development to Goku and the foundation that is set up in the beginning, which basically there's a scene where Whis, you know, Beerus, the god of destruction's servant, says, Goku, this is what's wrong with you. This is why you're still not at the level you should be. Vegeta, this is what's wrong with you. And towards the end of the movie, Goku basically is forced to use what Whis told him and actually develop as a person and change and grow a little bit. So that's one thing that I definitely felt that this movie accomplished, because there was a lot of action. I will tell you right now, if you went into Battle of Gods, the last Dragon Ball Z movie, and you were disappointed because there wasn't enough action, this movie is filled with fists flying left and right, almost, you know, all the Z Warriors minus like Yamcha, but then again it's Yamcha, who really want to see Yamcha, but a lot of the Z Warriors just going in, ass-kicking action. Just, it really kind of gave you a little bit of the desperation vibe of like when you were waiting for Goku to show up to fight the Saiyans, Vegeta, and Nappa. It definitely gave you that vibe, I'll tell you that right now. It was like a lot of action. So if you want action, if you crave that Dragon Ball Z, like, you're gonna get it with this movie. I'll tell you that right now. One of the problems, though, that I definitely felt like this movie brought forth is, and I said this in the manga reviews of, you know, the little chapters that we had that was teasing this, the power scaling is very, very off and inconsistent in this particular film. I mean, granted, yeah, some people have gotten weaker or whatnot, but like, if I'm correct, at the end of Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo was stronger than a Super Saiyan. He was pretty damn strong. And some of the people that are like fighting with him and giving him competition, if I'm correct, there was one dude that was like on Zarbon's level, and I think he might have had a power up or something, but like, it just felt really weird to see like these people that are, a lot of them were fodder, a lot of them were just Frieza's little remnants of his army that are coming in attacking. And granted, there's big numbers, but easily some of these people should have been able to wipe the floor with them, and they were using some, you know, excuses like, okay, for example, Gohan, he's very mild-mannered and, you know, he's not trying to hurt anybody, but easily Gohan, without killing anybody, could have taken out nearly the entire Frieza army. So the fact that he didn't is something that kind of I had a problem with. And honestly, I just felt like one of the biggest things, if anything, about this movie was the power scaling was just kind of off. I mean, there's a scene, and again, I'm trying to be very, very light on the spoilers, where Gohan, all of the things that I feared about Gohan coming into this film were realized. I will say that right now. Very disappointed in Gohan's character in this one. I mean, even to a certain extent, of course, shout out to Kale Bear. Even the voice actor Kale Bear definitely would like to see him step it up, because in this film, it just felt like, oh, Gohan, why? Even at your max power, you literally aren't cutting the mustard, bro. Some cool shit in this film, though, is definitely getting to see Master Roshi. I mean, Master Roshi, yes, Master fucking Roshi, the pervert that likes to read porn magazines and all sorts of shit, has some of the most awesome action sequences, some of the most funniest moments in this film, and I don't know, it just felt like bringing a little bit of that Dragon Ball feel into it when you got Master Roshi kicking ass. Granted, how is he kicking Frieza's soldiers' asses when it's Master Roshi at the end of the day? But fuck it. I mean, at this point in this movie, going into it, just come into it with the logic of the power scales is just going to feel weird. And if you go into that, you definitely, as far as enjoyment level goes, you will have a blast with this one. I'll tell you right now, because critic aside, reviewer aside, fun, I had a blast with this film. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. The fighting was awesome. The suspense and the intensity was awesome. The comedy was good. It was there. But bringing in the reviewer and critic into it, that's where it's just kind of like, And I think the biggest glaring problem with this film was the ending, which I won't say what happened in the ending, but I will definitely say a bit of retconning where it kind of steals the moment away from somebody. And that's where I felt like, okay, so you build it up that this character is going to have this moment, and then you take it away. And not only that, you build up that basically Frieza finally did something that he wanted to do, and then it just kind of like deteriorates. So that's definitely another thing that I felt that this film kind of messed up with. I feel as though if you're going to do it, do it. And I mean, granted, there's always the Dragon Balls, which is a retcon in itself because it could bring shit back. So, you know, if you want to do the Dragon Ball, that's perfectly fine. But some aspects of the ending of the film, I definitely felt like kind of made me feel like, it shouldn't have been done the way it was as far as retconning. The fighting sequences between Goku and Frieza was epic. I'm not gonna lie, just seeing them going in knuckle for knuckle, tooth, just like it felt like, oh, this is the Dragon Ball Z I've been craving for. Goku fucking yes, Frieza yes. Like, even if Frieza got that power up in a crazy short amount of time and just blew through, it did have the argument at the end of the day that he was a natural born strength. He was literally born with the strength of like a damn Super Saiyan. So imagine if he actually gave a fucking try. So granted, it does feel a little bit cheap or whatnot, but it gave an excuse as to how he can level up so quick. So the action sequences, again, I gotta stress, awesome. I love the action of this one. One thing I will say though about this film as well, getting back to, you know, kind of negative side of it, Frieza himself, for certain portions of the film, did not feel like the credible threat that you need in a film. Like, you go back to Battle of Gods, it felt like Beerus every step of the way. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Is Beerus going to do it? What's going to, like, you felt like you feared that this guy was just so incredibly strong, nothing anybody can do is going to, you know, stop him. But when you see Goku fighting Frieza, you're thinking to yourself, okay, they're somewhat evenly matched. And yet at the same time, you have Vegeta waiting in the wings, which, granted, you know, you don't know exactly how strong he is while you're watching, but you're assuming that he's somewhat going to be close to Goku's level. So even if Frieza manages to take out Goku, you still got Vegeta waiting in the wings to take him out. So for me, a lot of the film, I never really felt like Frieza was the threat like I felt back on, like, you know, Planet Namek and back in those times where it was just like the dominant force of the universe. I just didn't get that vibe from Frieza because Goku was just so strong that it almost felt as though a lot of it was him toying with Frieza. Now, quickly talking about the sound from this film, two things. For starters, the dub, solid. I mean, it's the dub. I honestly always, with Dragon Ball Z, I don't have a problem with the sub like most people. They can't get into whatever, but I prefer the dub, and everybody brought their A game to the table yet again. Sean Schemmel as Goku. Everybody did their thing as far as the dub, but I more so wanted to talk about the music because I was actually really interested and their choices of the way they did things, because normally if you've heard the original Japanese track or whatever, it always sounded very different from the American, but it seems as though the composer was actually getting scores that sounded similar to like some Bruce Faulkner music. And if you know about Bruce Faulkner, he's the dude that produced the English music of Dragon Ball Z, you know, when they did the dub and whatnot. It sounded very similar to that, but in a cool, really, you know, modern way or whatever. So if you don't necessarily like the English dub music, maybe you might have a problem with it. It has a lot of rock, it has a lot of that type of feel to it, but if you're a Bruce Faulkner fan, you love the music or whatever, you might really like this music, because I definitely felt while I was watching, one of the things is like, this sounds like Faulkner music a little bit. Oh shit, and it has like the rock tracks and stuff like that, like reminding me of like some of the old DBZ movies when they would replace the, you know, tracks with like some rock songs or whatever. So definitely the music was interesting, to say the least, that they were actually not necessarily imitating, but more so going towards what Bruce Faulkner had done in the past. And then quickly going into the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, I wish we got a little more of an explanation about that. Goku was just like, I gotta be brief about this, bro. I can't talk about this all day. So we didn't really get much of an explanation other than the fact that it's him, I'm guessing, Super Saiyan with like God powers mixed with it, which would also make you wonder why. Spoiler alert right here, in case you haven't seen the million trailers and pictures all over the internet, how Vegeta got it. I'm curious because he never went Super Saiyan God unless like off screen they did it just to help him or whatnot. So kind of curious as to how he achieved that power. And I mean, transformations look cool as shit. You got to see it animated to just exactly understand how awesome it is. Seeing, you know, 1080p, beautiful, them going into the transformation and whatnot. It looks cool as shit. And with all that being said, as far as if you love Dragon Ball Z for the fights and all that, you're going to love this film. You're going to enjoy the fuck out of it. You like fights, you like to see, you know, one of the most popular villains of all time, Frieza, you're going to get that. If you're going in there a little bit more like you've seen and read a lot of different manga and anime and whatnot, and you feel as though there's certain aspects of like the power scaling or whatever, you're going to feel a little bit disappointed with certain aspects of this film. I will honestly say I think that Battle of Gods was definitely a lot better of a film, simply because I felt the threat was a lot more credible. It felt a lot more fresh. At the end of the day, Frieza is a reoccurring villain. Granted, he's one of the most notorious ones, but bringing him back and whatever, never really, in this film, he didn't feel as though he was what he should have been. With all that being said, though, I still felt it was a good film nonetheless. It had a lot of what you wanted from a DBZ film. It did build up Frieza. It did have a lot of a struggle to it in the beginning of the film. So I would say, honestly, this film was anywhere from a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. Battle of Gods, I felt like it just did a lot of different things. And granted, again, the comedy is a little less in this one. So if you like, you're not really a big fan of the comedy, again, you'll appreciate the less factor of comedy in it. But I just felt as though Frieza's resurrection, it just did a couple different things. And if you even taking away the fact that, like, okay, it's Frieza, he shouldn't be that strong, whatever, take that out of the equation. There's still a couple of retconning events. There's still power scaling issues. So, still, good film. Could have done a couple different things different. And, I mean, if you're going to go the whole mile, go the whole mile. Don't cut off halfway, is what I'll say as far as certain events towards the end. But you got to see the film to, understand what I'm talking about. If you have seen Revival of F in any shape or form, let me know what you thought of it. If not, are you going to go check it out? I mean, it's Dragon Ball Z. Why not? Pre-order your tickets. I'll even put the link in the description so you can go August 4th through 12th. It's going to be a fun ride regardless, but I just wish they would have done things a little bit different. That's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that'd be amazing. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.